Years after the apocalypse, Australia is a desert wasteland and civilization has collapsed. Former cop Max stares at landscapes while hearing in his head the voices of all the people he couldn't save. Suddenly there's a noise nearby, so Max gets in his car and drives off. The noise comes from the War Boys, a violent group of men who chase him until they're close enough to shoot his car. When Max crawls from the wreckage, the War Boys quickly capture him and chain him to the back of their vehicle. In the Citadel, the War Boys shave Max's head and tattoo his back with medical information, including the fact that he's a universal donor. When he's about to be branded like a cow, Max finally reacts. He hits the men to throw them off and runs away. After going through a series of tunnels, he finds his car being repaired. The War Boys soon come after him, so Max takes another tunnel and ends up in a pool. The other side is blocked by the enemy too, but Max finds a chain he uses to climb the wall. Now he can reach the railing, but he's startled by a vision of a kid he couldn't save. A man grabs Max and manages to bring him down. In the water, the hallucinations keep asking why Max didn't help. He fights a few men off and returns to the tunnels, where he keeps seeing visions of people telling him, "You let us die." When he goes through a door, he finds himself on the edge of a cliff. The War Boys are still coming for him, so Max jumps and holds onto a crane hook. A guy tries to grab him and falls to his death, but the others do manage to capture him again. Moments later, the Citadel's leader Immortan Joe announces that he's sending his war rig to get Guzzlin from Gastown and bullets from the Bullet Farm. Furiosa will be driving and the War Boys will be her convoy. Joe talks like a prophet as he opens the pipe so water falls on the crowd. Since water has been scarce since the apocalypse, everyone rushes to gather some, but Joe quickly closes the pipes again. Later on the road, Furiosa changes course and informs the War Boys that they're going east instead, so everyone turns their vehicles. In the Citadel, Joe's son sees Furiosa's change on his telescope and immediately alerts his father. A furious Joe runs to his vault and opens it to discover that all his breeders are gone. The only one behind is an old woman, who points a weapon at Joe. She explains that Furiosa didn't kidnap anybody, the breeders always wanted to escape. When she tries to shoot, Joe pushes her gun and demands to know where his breeders are going, but she refuses to answer. Meanwhile, a muzzled Max is left hanging from his cage so Nux can have a blood transfusion. Suddenly drums and engines can be heard as the War Boys run around. Nux asks what's happening and learns that Furiosa has betrayed them, so they'll go after her. The War Boys rush to grab their wheels for a pile and Nux notices that Slit has taken his, so he tries to take it back. They argue about it and Slit tells Nux he can't come because he's too sick. Nux wants to go down fighting, so he knocks Slit down and announces that he's bringing Max to keep getting transfusions on the way. When the War Boys finally leave, Max is strapped to the front of Nux's vehicle and notices that his car is part of the fleet too. They shoot multicolored flares, which are seen by Furiosa's convoy but aren't enough to change her mind. A group of bandits known as the Buzzards notices the convoy entering their territory, so they speed up to approach it. The War Boys see them and say that they should take a different path, but Furiosa pushes through. Unfortunately, there's a hidden trap in the ground and one of the cars falls in it. The main truck almost falls too, but Furiosa makes it turn just in time. Soon the Buzzards catch up to them and run over one of the bikes. The War Boys throw a flaming spear at one of the Buzzards' cars and set it on fire, causing it to crash into another bike. A second Buzzard car tries to damage the truck's tires with a saw, but the War Boys quickly blow it up. When two more cars approach, Furiosa and a War Boy open fire to blow up one of the vehicles, causing it to crash into the car behind it. This delay allows Joe's fleet to catch up too. Slit throws a lance that flies too close to Max and blows up another Buzzard car. Another War Boy shoots a harpoon and rips off the roof of a Buzzard vehicle, causing the driver to answer with an arrow. The boy is shot in the chest, yet he stands up, sprays chrome paint on his mouth, and jumps with two spears to attack the Buzzard car. The explosion kills him and both bandits. On the main truck, the very pregnant Anharad emerges from the tanker and starts crawling toward the cockpit. The War Boys throw spears at another Buzzard vehicle, making it crash into their own car. While the boys keep throwing lances, Nux manages to drive close enough to the truck, and Max and Furiosa share a look. Anharad reaches the cockpit and tells Furiosa that she and the other breeders can't breathe in the tanker, but Furiosa wants them to stay hidden. At that moment a Buzzard saw attacks Furiosa's window, so Anharad hides again. The War Boys attack the Buzzard vehicle and Nux turns around his car to join them. When the Buzzard's car is finally destroyed, the saw comes loose and swings toward Max, who dodges it just in time. The saw instead cuts some explosives, which fall and blow up the last Buzzard vehicle. Now that the bandits are gone, Joe's convoy speeds up to reach Furiosa, who decides to drive toward a sandstorm. One of her men isn't happy about this and tries to choke her, so she punches him to push him off. When Nux tries to shoot at her, Furiosa hits his car to destroy its tire. Another War Boys car comes from the other side with a flamethrower, so Furiosa hits it with the truck too. Desperate to move faster, Nux tells Slit to move Max to the back of the car. Now that his limbs are free, Max can fight Slit, pushing him off the car. Slit holds onto the edge, so Max repeatedly kicks him until he falls for good. As all the vehicles enter the sandstorm, a bike can't take it and is blown away. Nux closes all the windows and the roof, and Max manages to hold on because he's still chained to the car. When the storm pushes him off, Nux pulls the chain to help Max climb back up, not wanting to lose his blood source. The storm gets worse the further they drive into it, and Furiosa pushes another enemy car, making it catch on fire and fly away in the wind. Seeing this as an inspiration, Nux drives near the truck while filling his car with gas. Then he paints his mouth, and Max realizes Nux is planning a sacrifice. He immediately breaks the window and tries to stop him, but Nux pulls the chain so he can't reach far. At that moment the storm blows off the car's roof, so Max can reach Nux from above and steal his flare. Furiosa uses this distraction to hit their car, causing Nux and Max to fall in the middle of the storm. Sometime later, the storm is over and Max wakes up in the sand. After removing the blood tube, he follows the chain and finds the other end attached to an unconscious Nux's arm. He tries to remove it to no avail, so he picks up a gun and tries to shoot the wrist, but the weapon isn't working either. At that moment he sees the war rig in the distance, so he breaks the door that Nux is chained to and carries them both as he approaches the truck. He finds Furiosa and the breeders washing the sand off and getting rid of Joe's straps. Max points the gun at them and asks for water, so Anharad hands him the hose. Since Furiosa has tools, Max asks Dag to cut the chain. As she tries to do so, she sees Joe's fleet approaching in the distance. Dag isn't strong enough to cut the chain, so Furiosa uses the distraction to tackle Max, stealing the gun and hitting him with it. However, when she tries to shoot him, she discovers it doesn't work. Max then tries to fight Furiosa, so the breeders pull the chain to help her. As Max uses the car door as both a shield and a weapon, Nux wakes up and pulls the chain, causing Furiosa to trip on it. She still reaches the truck and reveals a hidden gun, but Nux jumps on her to stop her from grabbing it. Max pulls the chain and runs to get the gun, only for Furiosa to jump on him and remove the bullets. Nux rushes to grab them and the breeders block him, so the chain keeps getting pulled while Max and Furiosa continue to fight. After exchanging several hits, Max gets close to Nux and retrieves the bullets to reload the gun. He points it at Furiosa's head and Nux thinks they're working together, so he agrees to finally cut the chain. Max realizes that Nux is wearing his jacket, so he takes it back and punches him. Anharad announces they're going to the green place and tries to get in the truck, but Max shoots her leg to stop her. Then he gets on the truck and drives away. Furiosa tells the breeders to do as she says and they start running after the truck. After just a few minutes, the truck stops working. The women catch up and Furiosa explains that the truck has kill switches, so she's the only one who can use it. Max tells Furiosa she can come along, but she refuses to leave the breeders behind. When Max announces he'll wait for Joe, Furiosa points out that he won't be happy to know that Max damaged one of his wives. She also offers to help him with the muzzle. Max finally lets them all come aboard and Furiosa gives him a tool. As the truck takes off, Nux runs and jumps on it, staying hidden for now. Max notices that Furiosa is driving toward the canyon and protests, but Furiosa tells him to look outside. They're being followed by the Gas Town boys, so they have no other choice. Suddenly the truck starts failing, and Furiosa says they're dragging something out back. Max goes out to investigate and finds a disconnected tube, so he works on fixing it. This was done on purpose by Nux, who now comes out of the tanker and crawls toward the cockpit while Max finally removes the muzzle. Nux surprises the women and attacks Furiosa, however the breeders work together to overpower him. Furiosa pulls out a knife and tries to kill him, but the breeders remind her that they don't want unnecessary deaths. When Max returns to the cockpit, he points at another convoy. The bullet farmers are now following them too. Nux thinks the women can't defeat all these fleets, so Furiosa spits on his face and the others push him out of the truck. When the war rig enters the canyon, Furiosa explains she made a deal for safe passage, but she's supposed to be alone. This forces Max and the breeders to hide. As the rock riders appear nearby, Furiosa explains that she has a plan B if things don't go well. She'll yell fool and Max will have to drive as fast as possible. She even teaches him the kill switch to do so. After passing under a bridge, Furiosa stops the truck and comes out announcing that she's brought 3,000 gallons of guzzolin as promised. In exchange, rock riders are supposed to drop rocks to block the way, but they complain because she said there'd only be a few vehicles and they count 3 convoys. As Anharad has her first contraction, Furiosa sees their enemies getting closer and yells fool. The riders open fire and Max starts the war rig to escape. Furiosa follows it and tries to climb inside, but a rider grabs her legs. She kicks him until he lets go and a tire runs over him. When the convoys are close enough, the other riders activate their explosives and the crumbling rocks block the way. Then the riders start chasing the truck, desperate for the promised fuel. On the other side of the bridge, Nux catches up to Joe and shows him a piece of the breeder's clothing, so Joe gives him a place of honor in his car. It has wheels so big that they allow him to drive over the pile of rocks and reach the other side. On the road, the riders start throwing grenades at the truck, setting it on fire. While Max tries to shoot at them, Furiosa activates the plow on the front of the truck, which throws sand that puts out the flames. Then both she and Max open fire, killing most of the riders with terrifying accuracy. When Furiosa runs out of ammo, a rider lands on the truck's roof, only to be shot down by Max. Furiosa grabs another gun and together they open fire again, finally defeating all the riders. As he dies, the last rider throws a bomb at the second tanker, causing it to separate from the truck. It explodes in the middle of the road, yet Joe rides through the flames. Once Joe's car is close enough, he points his gun at Furiosa. However, Anharad opens the door and acts as a shield, knowing Joe won't shoot his kid. Furiosa fires at him, but a war boy protects him and gets killed instead. Then Nux tells Joe that he knows where the hidden entrance in the truck is. Joe gives him a gun and paints his mouth, saying he'll earn Valhalla with this sacrifice. A war boy throws Nux on top of the truck, but his chain gets stuck and makes him trip. A disappointed Joe makes his car jump over some rocks and it lands in front of the truck. Before the war boys can open fire, Furiosa and Max shoot them down. One of them survives and shoots a harpoon, which lands in the steering wheel. The guy pulls the chain to steal the wheel and gets Max's hand stuck as well, so the breeders quickly cut the chain to free him. The wheel flies off and now Max can't maneuver the truck, but Furiosa attaches a wrench and moves the truck to avoid some rocks just in time. Anharad is almost smashed, but she manages to dodge the rocks too. Her leg starts to bleed as she holds onto the door, which comes loose and causes her to fall. Joe tries to turn his car but it's too late. He runs over Anharad and crashes. While Nux stares in shock, the breeders ask Max to stop the truck to help Anharad. However, he says that she went under the wheels, and Furiosa agrees there's no point in going back. On the crash site, Joe holds Anharad's body and roars in fury. After a few hours of driving, they have to stop the truck to cool the radiator. Cheeto suddenly starts running, saying that at least in the Citadel they were protected. The other breeders stop her, reminding her that they were nothing but slaves. When some men try to approach them on a bike, Furiosa quickly shoots them down. Once the truck is moving again, Furiosa says she must do some repairs and climbs under it. Capable moves to the back to keep watch and discovers a hidden Nux, who is crying because he blames himself for Anharad's death and thinks Joe will punish him. Capable shows him compassion, understanding what it's like to live in fear of Joe. That night, the truck reaches a muddy wasteland and after slipping a little bit, it gets stuck in the mire. They can hear their enemies coming closer, so they work together to move the tires and hide some traps in the mud. The truck can finally move again and speeds up before the fleets accidentally drive into their traps. The explosions ruin a few vehicles, while the rest of the convoys get stuck in the mire too. On the back of a car, a mechanic tells Joe that Anharad is about to die from her injuries, so Joe asks him to get the baby out. The mechanic does an emergency C-section, but the baby is already dead. Joe gets even angrier because it was a boy with no imperfections, unlike all his other sons. When the war rig gets stuck again, it gives the bullet farmers time to come closer. Suddenly the truck starts moving and it's revealed that Nux has taken over the wheel. Capable swears he's on their side now and Nux explains there's high ground nearby. While the group argues, Max opens fire at the incoming cars, but he misses all the shots. Furiosa takes the gun from him and rests it on his shoulder, then she shoots the farmer's searchlight to destroy it. The broken pieces leave their leader blind. While Nux teaches Max to chain the truck to a tree, the farmers come close enough and open fire. They don't care about killing the breeders, so Furiosa uses the car door as a shield to protect them. Nux keeps pushing the engine to its limits and Furiosa pushes the truck too. The tree is collapsing from all the effort, but Max manages to hold it long enough for the truck to get out of the mud. Everyone jumps back on the truck and Nux takes them to the higher ground as promised, but he has to stop the truck because the engines are too hot. Max tells the group to move the truck just a little further to stay out of sight and leaves to confront the farmers. While the group moves and cools the truck, they see an explosion in the distance. Furiosa sees a shadow in the mist and raises her gun, but it's Max. He's come back with the farmer's weapons and a wheel. Kos notices all the blood and thinks he's hurt, but it's the enemy's blood. After Max washes up, they leave in the truck and are creeped out by the weird creatures they see in the desert during their trip. The next morning, Max is startled awake by a nightmare. He asks Furiosa how he knows that the green place is real, so she explains she was born there. When she was a child, Joe kidnapped her and raised her in the Citadel. Now she's helping the breeders escape for redemption. Sometime later, they find a tower in the middle of the desert with a desperate woman on top of it asking for help. Max thinks it's a trap, but Furiosa goes to investigate. She announces that she's originally from the Vuvalini tribe and mentions her mother's name, so the woman yells a signal. Suddenly a bunch of women appear on bikes and the one from the tower runs to hug Furiosa. They're all from her tribe and recognize her name as the girl that Joe kidnapped. Furiosa explains that her mother died and introduces the tribe to her little group. When she mentions the green place, the tribe women say they've already passed it. It turns out the creepy place they saw last night is the only part left of Furiosa's home, and these bikers are the only survivors of her tribe. Furiosa falls to her knees and yells in grief. In the evening, the group makes camp and Dag reveals she's pregnant. A tribeswoman shows her a bag full of seeds, sharing that her duty is to keep them safe until she can find a new place to plant them. Meanwhile, Max is drawing a map using his blood. Furiosa tells him that she's talked to the tribe and they've agreed to try to cross the salt flats. They have enough supplies for 160 days, but they can't know if they'll find something on the other side. She gives Max a loaded bike and asks him to come with them, But he turns the invitation down because he thinks hope is a mistake. The next morning, Max is having hallucinations again. The guilt is too much to handle, so he rides back and finds the women again. He shows them his map and explains that the Citadel is the best place to build a new home. It has water, crops, and buildings. Max thinks they can use the truck to trap Joe in the canyon and then take the Citadel for themselves. The group likes the idea, so Furiosa shakes Max's hand to seal the deal. Moments later, Joe's convoy and the Gastown boys see the war rig going back, so they get in their vehicles to chase it. When some war boys riding Max's car get close enough to the truck, Max and a tribeswoman open fire. Nux climbs on the hood and spits fuel into the intake, helping the truck move faster. Unfortunately, Slit is doing the same on Max's car, and soon it's in front of the truck, dropping spikes on the road. Furiosa pulls off some sudden moves to dodge them, causing Nux to choke on the gas. While Max takes over Nux's job, two tribeswomen appear on a bike and shoot the driver, causing Max's car to get off the road. At that moment, the truck starts slowing down because an engine has broken and the other one is about to blow. Max sends Nux to deal with the engine while he and a tribeswoman try to disconnect the tanker. Soon the rest of Joe's convoy arrives and the two bikers try to fight them, but a war boy hits them and throws them off the bike. One of the women loses her eyes and the others try to shoot Joe, who drives above her to ignore her. Unfortunately, the Gastown boys are behind him and run over the duo to kill them. The war boys start shooting harpoons at the tanker, causing the truck to slow down more. While the tribeswoman keeps working on the tanker link, Max moves to the back and starts cutting the chains to get rid of the harpoons. Another car gets close enough and connects a chain to the side of the truck, only for the driver to get shot by a tribeswoman. The car collapses and explodes, unfortunately killing the woman in the process. When Max cuts one more chain, it kills another driver and the car crushes into its teammates. Then the war boys use poles to jump on the top of the truck, and Max is slowed down by a small explosion. While a tribeswoman provides backup fire, Max fights the guys. A gas grenade is thrown into the cockpit and a cable wraps around Furiosa's neck, but a woman comes out to hit the war boy and force him to let go. Another guy slashes the woman's neck and Furiosa immediately shoots him before getting rid of the grenade. Since the woman is dying, Dag gives her the bag of seeds to hug. Another war boy jumps on the roof and tries to attack Furiosa with a chainsaw, but Max shoots him down. When he tries to attack the next enemy, he has another hallucination that distracts him and ends up with an arrow piercing his hand. While Furiosa is busy fighting a guy behind her, a man on a pole manages to grab Toast through the open roof and takes her to Joe's car. Max keeps fighting the enemies on top of the truck and almost falls off, but Furiosa grabs him by the leg at the last second. An enemy uses this chance to stab Furiosa, so the dying woman uses her last strength to stab him back and the breeders throw him off the truck. As the entire convoy surrounds the war rig, Nux finishes fixing the engine and the truck can go a little faster. Slit returns in Max's car and tries to run over him, so Furiosa moves the truck to press him against another vehicle and make his car explode, finally killing him. Nux then kicks Max to send him to the Gastown car. He climbs on the roof and quickly gets rid of the driver before taking over the wheel. When the leader tries to shoot him, Max takes his gun and breaks his hand. Now he can use him as a shield while exchanging shots with Joe. Some war boys try to attack Max with a flamethrower, but Furiosa runs over them. When the back of the Gastown car starts exploding, Max makes a risky jump and manages to return to the war rig. A pole man takes the chance to capture him, however Max pushes him off and takes over the pole while the Gastown car blows up behind them. Now Furiosa and Joe are head to head and keep pushing their vehicles against each other. Since the truck is slowing down, Furiosa asks Nux to drive so she can go after Joe. Meanwhile, the pole drops Max on another truck and steals the guitar from a musician to use it as a weapon, fighting a few guys at the same time. He still has to fight them as he makes another jump to return to the war rig. On the front of the truck, Cheeto climbs out and asks a war boy to rescue her. The man sends her to the front of his car before he tries to take the other breeders too, so a tribeswoman tries to fight him and he throws her out. While Cheeto reveals she was acting and helps Furiosa get on Joe's car too, Max starts fighting the big guy and a tribeswoman helps him win with a few shots. Furiosa also has to fight a war boy, and Nux hits the car with the truck to help her throw the guy off. When Joe tries to shoot her, Toast grabs his arm to stop him and gets hit in return. Suddenly Furiosa inserts a harpoon into Joe's mask, but the chain accidentally gets stuck in the tires. It rips off Joe's face and Furiosa's mechanical arm. Max rescues Furiosa while Toast takes over the wheel since Joe is now dead. Cheeto tells the others that they've finally won, so they start changing vehicles. Dag grabs the seed bag from the dead woman while Nux stays to keep the truck under control. As the group reaches the bridge, the big guy wakes up and rips off an engine. Nux says goodbye to Capable before making a sudden turn, causing the truck to fall and hit the bridge. The rocks crumble and seal the canyon path. In the car, a tribeswoman explains that Furiosa's lungs are collapsing. Max stabs her to create an airflow that helps her breathe, then he connects his tube to her body to donate his blood. Some time later, the car finally arrives at the Citadel and Max throws Joe's body at the crowd, who celebrate and chant their approval. The younger war boys raise the platform for their new leaders and open the pipes so everyone can have water. While everyone is distracted, Max sneaks away. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications